Okay, let's take a fresh stab at this. I'm going to start a new droplet, and I'm first going to see if there's something in the marketplace that will help us with this. So let's look for limp. This one is probably going to be what we want. I'm going to select regular Intel with SSD. I'm going to check the details on this real quick. This is running Ubuntu, Nginx, MySQL, and PHP FPM. Those are all the things that we want. It's also got certbot. So this all looks like what we want to use. So I'm going to go with the $5 a month box. I'm going to select just New York Data Center 1. I'm going to add monitoring. I'm going to use the Flatiron key that we generated last time. And I'm going to go ahead and create this droplet. Okay, our virtual private server has been created. I'm going to copy that IP address, and I'm going to edit the SSH shortcut. So now this shortcut is going to use this IP address instead. So now if I do SSH Flatiron, I'll say yes, this is my first time establishing connection, and I do want to connect. And we're in. So real quick, I'm going to visit. You'll see that we do get something, so that means our server is up. So the next step is just going to be, I'm going to read what they have here. In a web browser, you can view the LIMP one quick start guide. We'll go ahead and pull that open. And the default web root is located at var www.html. The MySQL root password is saved in root DigitalOcean password. certbot is pre-installed. We're going to configure HTTPS. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, since it sometimes takes time, is I'm just going to make sure that we connect our domain name to this new IP address. So I'm going to go to hover.com. I don't want that website. I want to edit this one. I'm going to change the star and the @ value. And then in addition to that, since we're using like this one-click droplet, all ports are blocked except for 22, 80, and 443. So the first thing that we are going to do is see if our domain name is connected already. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. It may not be, like, all the changes might not be fully connected yet. Oh yeah, sometimes it can take up to 15 minutes. So we'll keep moving without that. We want to get into root and our DigitalOcean password. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to so we can click around visually. And this is just an FTP client. And it just lets us click around like we would in the Finder, but on our server. So first thing we want to do is add a MySQL database. So we want to look in our web root, which is in /root.digitalocean. Okay, so we can't see it here, so I'm going to do it here. So I'm going to cd into root. And here is DigitalOcean password right here. So I'm going to do vim.digitalocean password. And here's our root MySQL password. None of this stuff matters anymore, so I'm just going to go ahead and clear it out. Okay, now our domain name is connected. It finally clicked. We can get rid of that. We'll go ahead and get rid of that. All right, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to look up lemp DigitalOcean MySQL. And we're going to skip ahead to the MySQL part. It's already installed. So this is the part that we want to get to right here. Sudo MySQL. Because we used the one-click droplet, we already have MySQL installed. So I'm going to exit this by doing the colon and the Q, which means that we don't want to do anything to change that file. We just want to get out of it. And the Q stands for quit. And then I'm going to do sudo MySQL. I'm going to go ahead and check what our users' permissions are. Root is using auth socket. We learned the last time that that will cause a problem later down the line. I don't know why it will cause a problem, but it will. So we're going to go ahead and change that by using this guy down here. we are going to generate a password. Now we're going to run that command. That command looks like it worked fine. We'll see what happens if we run this command again, and we'll see that it's MySQL native password instead of auth socket, which is exactly what we wanted. We'll go ahead and flush privileges. And we will exit. And then if you read here, after configuring your root user to do what we just did with this MySQL native password, we won't be able to get in from the root user unless we do this. So we're going to test to make sure that that works. And we're going to paste in the new password that we created. And we're in. Okay, so that works great. So we want to create a new database and a new user. So we are going to look for create database user MySQL DigitalOcean. We'll go with the first one. We're going to get a command here going, which will create a new user. We'll call this new user Flatiron. We'll generate another password. Log in as root. Now that we're in, we can run this command, which will create our user. That worked. Give our new user privileges, and this just means that like this new database user will actually be able to access the database. And that worked. And now we will flush our privileges. And that worked. Okay, so that's what we needed for that. Now we need to connect our GitHub actions so that we can have our files deployed to the server whenever there is a push to our GitHub repo. So let's do a make dir, and we'll call this Flatiron. All right, so now we're going to hop over to GitHub. And And we're not interested in WesBoss's repos, even though they're really cool. We're going to go to our repositories. We're going to go to the Flatiron project that we created before. I'm going to go to Settings and Actions. And we're going to go to Actions for this project. And we need to have a runner, which I'm not seeing. Oh, they've hidden it. We have runners here. That's different than the other day. I'm going to go ahead and remove the one that we created the other day because we're going to need to do a new one. We're going to force remove it. Okay, now we're going to click Add Runner. We've already created the folder that we want this to happen in. So we're going to go ahead and download our package. This one is for OS X, which is the computer that we're currently on, but our server is Ubuntu, so that's Linux. So we're going to choose Linux right here. We're going to copy this, and you'll see that we are, if I do pwd, which is present working directory, that shows us where we are on our server. I'm already in the folder that I want to be in, so I don't need to create a new folder right here. I'm just going to run the command that I copied here. And I'll make it bigger so you can see it easier. Okay, cool. That pulled in a new file, and this is a zipped file. So we're going to unzip it, and their instructions say extract the installer. So we'll go ahead and do that. Now this is going to, pull out a bunch of new files. Like, see, if I just do an ls, we just have this one file. But if I go ahead and use the tar xzf directive, it's going to go ahead and unpack this zipped folder. Maybe it may do that. Okay, so it didn't get everything we needed it to get. I'm gonna try and make it run again. So I'm gonna remove env.sh, externals, and run.sh. So that's gonna delete these 3 files. And we will unpack that folder again. Okay, that went much quicker. And we have everything that we need there. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the folder that we don't need. Okay, so now if you remember, we need to export a weird variable to make this work. read the instructions. Yep. Okay, so we run, must not run with sudo. Okay, so we need to create a new user because we must not run this as a root user. That's what the sudo means. So we will Google for add new user. Let's do add new sudo user. All right, so we're going to do add user Flatiron. This is going to be this user's password. I just pasted that twice. We're going to accept all the default values by just hitting enter. I'm going to say that that information is correct. We're going to add that user to the sudo group. So we're going to switch to that new user account using su-, and it's going to boot us out of this folder, so we'll have to come back here. Now we can try to run this one again. Password for Flatiron. See, that's what we got right there. Let's try that. Yep, that worked. So I just got rid of the $sign in front of that variable. We will just accept all the defaults here by hitting enter. And then we have to edit the svc.sh to do the same thing. So I'm just going to open that file. Oh, and this one requires us to run it with sudo. And I believe that we need to be the root user to run this. So I'm going to exit, which is going to take us off of the Flatiron user and back to the root user. And then I'm going to say sudo svc.sh. I think you have to put the / in front of it if I remember right. And we'll do install. Okay, so that looks like that worked. And then we have to do the same thing again, but instead of install, we have to do start. Which that looks like that's also running. So if we come back here, we have idle, which is great. That is exactly what we were hoping for. So with this means it's connected and it's just like waiting for something to happen. So if we bring open our local site. We have this Flatiron folder here. And this has all of the stuff that we're interested in deploying. So I'm just going to make a meaningless change. I'll add a period here. Git add dot, git commit, and this is just going to just trigger a git push to the directory to make sure that, like, when we actually do a push to the directory, our files get sent over to our server. Okay, so it's active, so it is running something here. We'll go back to actions, and we can see that it's in the process of doing our meaningless change. And I misspelled it. But now if we come back over here, I do an ls, and I go into that work folder, and into Flatiron, and into Flatiron. You can see that we have all of our files there, which is exactly what we're after. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this file and copy it one level out so that when changes happen, this folder is going to get overwritten with the new stuff from GitHub. And we don't want that file to get overwritten because it's going to be like the brains of our operation. It's going to have like our passwords to our database and all that kind of stuff. So we don't want that to get overwritten. So we are going to copy wp config sample, and we're going to copy it one level out, and we're going to change its name to wp-config.php. Okay, great. And then we're going to go out one level. We're going to edit that file that we just created. And I don't think we created our database yet. So we will probably have to do that. So we'll log into our terminal. We'll show our databases. We indeed do not have a Flatiron database. So we will create database. Let's call ours Flatiron. try it without the little lowercase database. Okay, so that worked. Show databases, and there's Flatiron. Let's make sure that that's what we have set. Okay, good. We do have that set. And before we go anywhere else, we want to make sure that we change our salts. So to do that, we'll just paste in that URL that was in wp-config. We're going to copy everything here. And this just kind of like the short version is it kind of like protects your passwords and your logins. Okay. And we'll go ahead and exit there. I'm going to do a present working directory so that we get, we want to go one level in because we want all of these files here to be the directory that we land on. We want basically index.php to be the first file that is seen. So if I do pwd again, that shows us the folder that we were working at. And now we're going to go and we are going to find the Etsy folder. Then we're going to go into the Nginx folder. And then sites available. I believe we're using DigitalOcean here. Yep, it's pointing here. So instead of that, we are going to point it here. I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to Google again for how to restart Nginx. That's what we want right there. Okay. And now we get to the WordPress setup screen, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, so I'm going to type in, we'll call this Chris McIntosh. We'll give ourselves a user. We'll call it Flatiron instead. I'm just going to get rid of this after we're done with it anyway. Flatiron. And we'll do a username of Flatiron. And we'll copy that so that we have it at the next step. And we're going to put my username in, or my email. I'm going to click Install WordPress. And log in. Our username is Flatiron. And we're in. I'll go ahead and add that. So now we have posts, pages, appearance. You can go into your themes. You can change a theme. You can see that we have a front end of our website now. We can click a new post. That'll let us add a brand new post for Flatiron. We can publish that. We can view that new post. We can go back to the home page. We can see that we've got a list of posts that we've created. We can go to customize. We can change to a color if you want. I think this is for like if we hover. Maybe it's not. I don't remember what that's for actually. Oh yes. If you see down here, it's using the color that we've selected over here. So if I change this to green, this will now be green. We won't save that though. But it looks like it did save it. We'll go ahead and change our theme again just to show you guys how that works. We'll go to 2020. This is probably my favorite out of these three. We can go ahead and create a new page, and we'll call this one our home page. And let's put a cover block in. And this, we have a media library, so let's go to Unsplash. And we'll just get a wide picture. That one looks cool. We'll upload that folder. Oh, it's too big. Let's see if we can find a smaller one. All right, let's see if we can make it smaller. So I'm going to open this with Preview, go to Tools, adjust size, we'll change it to pixels, and we will make that much smaller because that's a huge image, so we'll drop it down to 1200 pixels. And that drops the size down to 156 kilobytes. So I'm okay with that. I'll click Save. And now we'll try uploading that again. Okay, so now we've got to work on our permissions. So we need to run two commands. It's these two commands right here. And that should set us on the right path there. Okay, so we're going to use this command here and add our username to the end there. And I'm going to go out one level so that we have this Flatiron folder. Right here. We'll see if that fixes it. Okay, so we don't have an uploads folder at all, so let's make an uploads folder. Let's see what that gets us. That may not fix it either. Let's go look and see what our permissions are. Okay, so that looks like it's what it should be. That's not quite what we're after, I think. This might be what we want. So I'm just going to copy that. And replace all of those. And we'll run these one at a time. Let's see if that helps us. It does not. Let's go ahead and publish this real quick and just reload and see if that may be part of the issue. Okay, let's look for the Nginx rules for WordPress. Let's see what happens if we take these and add them to our Nginx configuration. And this is after so take that, and This is going to be before the slash location block. Hmm. Okay, so let's try one more thing here. Let's try that. Hey, that worked. Okay, so now we have our media library here. I'm going to click select. Let me make that full width. I'll go ahead and update that. I'm going to create one more page. And I'll just call this the blog page. We're going to go over to settings and reading. We'll do a static page. Our home page is going to be our home page, and our post page is going to be blog. And then I know Avalon was asking about the menus, so I'm going to select menus. I'm going to create a new menu, primary menu, and I'll just check the top 3 here. And we'll add our 2 new pages that we created. And we'll add the 3rd one just to show you how it all works. And then click add to menu over here, and then we'll save our menu. Visit the site, and that's all, you know, working as we kind of expected to. We could change our theme again. We could add stuff to like this little off canvas menu. We can search the site, so we can say Flatiron, and it's going to bring our blog post back that we created. These are all widgets down here, so we could go to customize, and if we didn't want those anymore, we could remove them. You'll see that they kind of go away just as soon as you delete them. We could also change their order by dragging them. I don't really like widgets most of the time, so I just get rid of them. publish those changes. Okay, so now the last step that we've really kind of got here is we want to get rid. We want to have our SSL certificate going. So we need to go back to LIMP, DigitalOcean, SSL. Certbot is already installed, so we don't need to do that. We do need to probably update this so that it handles www as well. So we'll do chrismacintosh.me and www.chrismacintosh.me. And I think I have 4 W's in there. We don't want that. That looks better. We'll go ahead and restart our Nginx. Make sure that nothing broke. Nothing broke, which is great. Okay. Now we're going to do sudo ufw status to see what is happening on our firewall. And we see that Nginx is allowing we're going to go ahead and copy this. That rule already existed, which is great. The rule doesn't exist that it wanted us to delete. Okay, this is the next important part. This is where we get our security certificate, and it installs it for us. So I'm just going to paste in this command right here, and we're going to switch it to our stuff. So I'm going to copy that, and paste it in. It wants us to provide them with an email address so they can contact us if there's a problem with our certificate. We're going to agree. I don't want to share my email, so I'll say no. Please choose whether or not to redirect HTTP traffic to HTTPS, removing HTTP access. So this is basically saying if somebody comes in on the unsecure channel, we're going to transfer them right over to the secure channel. And I like that option a lot, so I'm going to choose that by putting in the number 2, which you can read as this option here. And I'm going to hit enter. Okay, now I think everything is good to go on that front. So if I refresh, we have our security certificate here. We're all secure, and this is the basics here. You can change your theme. There's a lot of good themes. Most of the best ones are from WordPress themselves, and they start with the words 20. This is going to be Flatiron. Yeah. Most of them start with the word 20, and then they have the other year name. You can browse around and find one that you like. Again, most of them look good like this. But what I do for work is creating custom themes, and it's a lot of fun. So I hope that you enjoy it. Please let me know if you have any questions.